Good morning.
Good morning. So we're jumping on here because we're going to have a coffee chat about regulating emotions. And
Which sometimes looks like this, our daughters in our lap.
yes, it does. It is okay. So, I don't know. I do know. Did you want to start?
Go for it.
Go for it.
Go
All
for it.
right. So, yeah, it's the reason why I want to bring up, well, we kind of talked about it before. And it's like emotions are hard, even for adults. And sometimes I feel like as parents, we put a lot of not stress, like responsibility on little kids to be able to regulate their emotions. And a lot of times I explain it like, okay, think about it. So an adult gets upset and let's say they hook something because they're working on something, they're like stinking car and throw their thing. That's not okay either. It's like if it's hard for us to even regulate our emotions, we can't put so much expectations on our children to be able to do the same. So it's like we have to teach them. And I feel like for me, the best way to do that is to demonstrate it. We do a lot of breathing and counting. We have what's it called? The punching bag.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like, if you're really angry, go punch that bag. Like, I'm so frustrated, and even for us as adults to be like, name what's going on. I feel sad and this is how I'm going to handle it, and like we've talked about it, it's like it's good to feel your emotions and honor them, but don't let them sit in you because that's when you become depressed. That's when you become anxious and all these things.
And it gets more confusing. The more we sit on it and we don't name it or go through it, then it gets more confusing. I think it's kind of like when we get hungry and we're like so hungry we can't think, we have no idea what sounds good, just food, just give me food. And I think sometimes our emotions are kind of the same. Like we're feeling something and we've just let it sit there and fester and we're just like, I don't know what I'm even upset about or what it is, and then like getting down to the root of what it was. And sometimes that's important to get to what it actually was, and sometimes it's just allow it to go. Just accept that it was a feeling, a moment in time, and allow it to pass.
Right. And it's so important to be like, okay, I might not fully understand, but I know that something really frustrated me, or maybe a person frustrated you or a situation. And it's like, okay, well, but then why? Why did you allow that to frustrate you? Yeah. And taking that on and then being like, okay, well, I don't have to be frustrated with that. I can choose not to be, because really, we give things their meaning. So it's like, okay, that's fine. But we can choose to, turn from that and be like, you know what? I don't have to allow that to frustrate me.
You were saying a few things that you guys do, like the punching bag. One thing that we've started doing, because I've done a lot of the EFT tapping, and one great spot is underneath your arm. And so, for her, what that looks like is she's giving herself a hug and she's tapping that spot. And, I notice, I mean, she does do it on her own, but more than anything, she reminds us to give ourselves a hug and tap, tap, tap. So having little things that help you move through that instead of just sitting in it.
It's very important. Good morning.
Willoughby.
Yeah, it's really important. Just naming your emotions, having little things, like you said, the EFT tapping is really good to give yourself a hug. There's so many different things. I know when we were going through some grief, Hunter, for a while, we would go sit by a tree because nature is just really good for you anyway, right? To get some fresh air. And sometimes you have to go ground yourself. And I think it's really important. So we just go sit by a tree. Sometimes we talk, sometimes we wouldn't, and we do a lot of breathing. He can go from 0 to 10. I was the same way as a kid, 0 to 10, instantly sad, instantly angry. And especially when things he doesn't consider it fair. But, the breathing really does help. And we count backwards because then there's an end. Does that make sense? So we'll go, even if you start at 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. And then, um, It's like there's an end where if you count up, you can go on.
You can go on and on. But no, if you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then boom.
Yeah. It's just there's something about that with your brain just does that switch.
No,
And you
I
can
think
try it.
outside. So you're sitting outside, and I have
I
big
am.
windows in my house, and I've noticed that if I'm somewhere else that doesn't have windows, that starts to affect me. And so I think oftentimes other people don't realize how much they need that like sunlight, that green, the trees and the everything. And it
Nature.
really does change things for you when you have nature to see.
Do you see her? Peekaboo. It's so true because it grounds you. I mean, I've noticed even if we go for walks or if we just stand outside, it makes a big difference to your day. Just,
Yeah.
you know,
I know often sometimes people feel like when they're in that sadness, they want to curl up in a ball and they want to sleep or take a nap. And it's so much more therapeutic and productive to go for a walk.
it
You go
is.
for a walk and you don't feel like curling up in a ball anymore at the end of that walk, most likely. You feel like having a nice glass of water or, doing something else, or it helps you transition from that.
Does. And even if you're tired, it's like you don't have to walk fast. I say that all the time. It's like we don't have to be in a hurry. We can do
Mhm.
a little slow, like slug walk. It's fine. Just let's just move our bodies. And even in that, they say I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize this is when you are tired, when you move your body, you actually get more energy. When you use it, you get more of it.
It's very true. Very true. Are you curling your hair?
No. If I see my aunt and May.
Okay.
I think also it's like we as parents need to realize it's like when they have those big emotions, especially when I've looked back on like I had, my two older ones really young, and it it can be hard. It can be hard when you're out and about, especially, and your child throws a tantrum and you just want to stop because you're just like, oh, this is embarrassing or whatever comes to your mind, right? And it's like we have to realize who cares? Who cares what they are thinking? Because the most important thing is your child. And so, whether that means you need to pick them up and walk them out, if you need to stop right then and give them a hug or something. And it's not, and that is important. It's like when I'm upset, I'm not throwing a tantrum, but you're upset or
I
crying
do
or whatever.
sometimes.
Well, sometimes we do. The last thing you want is somebody yelling at you to knock it off.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. It makes everything worse. It makes everything worse, and so it's like learning how to be just calm in that. And so it's like we have to even learn how to regulate our own emotions. If we've never learned and never was demonstrated, then you don't know how. Did you have anything else you wanted to
You,
say?
you girls are going through all your silly faces to each other.
It's cute. She's waving. Hi.
Cut, cut.
Her hair.
My air. I got to
Was there anything else you wanted to share?
I'm thinking.
I know you got Mickey Mouse.
I'm thinking because we went through that I mean,
Covered on a lot of things.
yeah.
I don't know if I wanted
Well,
to.
and I think when you get in the practice of it, I think that it feels obvious, but sometimes when you're in the moment of it, it doesn't feel as obvious. And you need you need those reminders. I mean, sometimes I've needed friends to remind me to breathe, like to
Right.
literally
Yeah.
just take the breath. And I'll say another one that has really helped is the senses. So I know that there's a specific order, but for example, name 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you smell, 2 things you can touch, and 1 thing you taste. And like when you're really in the moment of it, of big feelings and navigating those, it nothing has helped me more than those senses, the sensory exercise, and going
It's a
through
really good one.
what I'm seeing, and it's helped me in through some really dark moments. And like I said, I feel like when you have allowed yourself to get in that pattern, it's harder to get yourself out. And so making those kind of like just stretching and flexing your intentional thought process
Hmm.
um, can really help in those bigger moments because you've done the work, you've flexed those muscles, you know how to regulate yourself and to calm yourself and assure yourself. And so, and without someone screaming at you to stop it, knock it off.
And
So,
that's the thing is when you're really angry, especially that big, huge emotion, it's for somebody when I mean when people say calm down, it's frustrating. It's like ignites the fire. It's like, but I
mhm.
can't literally calm down, and so it's like you need help. And I love the sensory thing. We've also done like the counting backwards, the breathing exercise, the candle. Now my son says, I hate blowing out candles.
Blowing out the candle. Oh,
He didn't like it as much now, but that's okay. That's the thing is, I feel like nothing's going to work for everybody the same. And it's good to just try different things over and over again. Being emotionally um, intelligent or however you want to word that, where you can regulate your emotions, where you can name your feelings. It's a, it's a lifelong, skill
it
you have
is.
to practice, in
It's
different
not just for
seasons.
children. It's not just for this phase of your life. It is. It's a constant exercise.
It is, and it's really
We're
important.
constantly being put in different situations,
Mhm.
and um, some of which we kind of expect. Sometimes grief, we know that grief is coming. We know that someone is sick or having a hard time. They're nearing death. We can anticipate that, but sometimes we're not allowed that introduction or that leeway. It comes crashing down, and so it does help to have those tools, have those processes,
Yeah, it's really important.
so that you can help yourself or help a friend. That's been huge. Did you have anything else? She's
Good
done.
morning. I am so glad you jumped on here.
No, no.
Thank you. I know that sometimes we get carried away. We have our things. I know for us, well, for you too, the sun is starting to just now come up. And so that's kind of shifting us a bit, is the change in season and the
Then,
sun.
Nom, 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 nom.
It makes it a little harder to wake up in the morning. We want to sleep in just a little bit more because why not? The sun's sleeping in.
right? I think that's okay, I think it's okay. Hey, I know, Ansie. Ansie. So funny. One of the things that I will tell myself when, you know how like people would say, "Oh, I get touched out" or whatever. I'm like a tiger. Because if you watch like animals, they don't like for the most part, it's like 99% of the time. They're not really, they just lay there, take it. Like it's fine.
I definitely have a high threshold for the touch out.
Yeah.
So I've never heard of the tiger though.
It reminds me of being a tiger. I'm so glad that we got on here.